Hey, I'm Elizabeth Booker Houston, aka Booker Squared.
And I'm Jasmine Burton, aka Jazzy Beats, and this is No Distractions, where we cut through the political BS.
And today we're talking about disappearing lawful citizens in the United States, okay?
Lord have mercy.
So we are talking all about Kilar Armando Abrego Garcia, who is a Maryland state resident that 4547 and the crazy people at the White Supremacy House decided to snatch up out of our great state of Maryland and send to an El Salvador prison for no reason.
And just to let you guys know, he is still in El Salvador. The Trump administration has admitted that it is a mistake and they are unable to get him back, which is ridiculous.
Unable.
Unable. But shout out Chris Van Hollen, because Chris Van Hollen pulled up quick, fast, and in a hurry, pulled up to the prison and said, hey, can I speak to him? And they were like, no, you cannot.
Yeah, Senator Chris Van Hollen, who represents Maryland, went over there to get his constituent. He said, you know what, matter of fact, let me go ahead and fly to El Salvador. This went all the way up to the Supreme Court, and in a 9-0 decision, meaning that even Clarence Uncle Ruckus Thomas voted against 4547. They all said, hey, you got to bring this man home. So what happened is Mr. Abrego Garcia fled El Salvador when he was 16 years old to escape gangs, and he was granted withholding of removal. This is a step further than asylum, okay? I want you to know what a big deal this is. When you're granted asylum, you're saying that you have a reasonable fear of being persecuted. So you're just afraid it might happen. When you get a withholding of removal, they are saying that we understand that there is a clear probability that you will be persecuted, meaning he was in a lot of danger. So this is a higher standard for him to stay here in the United States.
And the crazy thing is, they said that he was a part of the MS-13 gang in El Salvador, which is actually not the case. He had a fear of those gangs, which is why he fled to America. But have the media tell it, he was a part of those gangs, which is absolutely not the case.
And the thing about Maryland is, okay, we have a very large El Salvadoran community here, which Chris Van Hollen pointed out while he was standing on soil in El Salvador. We are not going to play about our Latino community just because all of these folks want to be racist as hell to this man, just because he happens to be Latino, just because he happens to be an immigrant. Maryland is not standing for it. And so that's why the senator is there right now.
Okay, shout out Maryland. Maryland really is not playing. I'm over here in DC, but do I need to move?
Maybe come check us out a little bit. Come see us. Come see us. We don't play about our people, okay?
But it's so important that you say that, because this really is a human rights issue. Even if you're not a part of the community that this is affecting, it still is a human rights issue, and you should care because it's happening to another human. It's happening to another person that it should not be happening to. This is all of our problem. And if it happens to him, who's not to say it can't happen to you? If they're deporting people that are here legally, he has an American wife, he has an American family, it can happen to anyone.
And that's the point when we talk about disappearing lawful residents, lawful citizens. That's exactly what we're talking about. Everybody on the right was like, oh, if you come here the right way. Well, Abrego Garcia came here the right way. He did everything he was supposed to do. Even had a court order going back to 2019 saying they would withhold his removal because there was a high likelihood that he would be persecuted if sent back to El Salvador, okay? Did everything he was supposed to do, and yet they still snatched him up. And even with the 9-0 decision from the Supreme Court, this administration was like, oh, no, well, he's already gone, so never mind.
And the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, said that he's not coming back to this country because the president of El Salvador won't let him back. But if they do decide to let him back, we'll cover the plane ride.
This is the problem, though, because Senator Van Hollen is there in El Salvador, and he talked to the vice president, okay, because the president is not there right now. And he said, we need you to let him go. Their response was, well, we can't smuggle somebody into the United States. And Van Hollen was like, I'm not telling you to do that. I'm telling you to open the doors of that prison, let that innocent man walk out, and I, as his representative, will take care of the rest. I will get him back to America. So they're really playing games. And so Senator Van Hollen said, can I talk to him? They said, no, you can't go see him in person. He said, well, if I come back next week, can I see him in person? They said, we can't promise that. He said, can I FaceTime with him? They said, no. Can I talk to him on the phone? They said, no. So we're trying to figure out, what is it that they're trying to hide? Maybe the fact that they don't want Abrego Garcia to leave this prison, which from what it sounds like is a whole torture facility.
Horrible prison.
And snitch on what they're doing down there in El Salvador.
That's what I think too. I think they want to keep it quiet. I don't think they want him to be released and then let us know what is actually going on in there. And y'all heard Elizabeth mention that this was a torture facility. We've seen firsthand what this prison does. Y'all watch the Netflix series? It was about the El Salvadorian prison Kikot. That is where he is being held. It is absolutely a horrible, horrible, horrible prison.
And I want to remind folks of something that you really need to take into account when we talk about, again, disappearing people who are here legally, lawfully, came the right way. Even people who are born here, because what did he say on that hot mic 4547? I think he said homegrowns are next, right? Homegrowns are next. He's talking about you. He's talking about us. He's talking about everybody here who he may not like, okay? I want to remind you that there was, I don't know, this like regime, back in the 1930s or in Europe or something, they started sending people out of the country to certain, I think they called them what? Camps, some kind of camp.
Internment camps.
Right. I think I got to concentrate. I got to think. I got to think about this one. They sent them out of the country, and the first thing that they said is they were deporting them. And we know what happened. I want folks to keep that in mind with what's going on here in America and why Mr. Abrego Garcia's case is so important to all of us. One, as Jasmine pointed out, he's a human being. Mm-hmm. He deserves dignity, respect, to come home safe, happy, and healthy to his wife and to his children here in Maryland, okay? Mm-hmm. That's first and foremost. And second of all, you might be next.
Okay.